do what we supposed to do. We shut it down. Judge us it down. Yeah.
Let me see. Now I can hear you. Yo, hey.
This. We're going to push there. I think we're good. Let's find out. Probably we're already live. I think we're good. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to DeltaFi. It is Wednesday, June 2nd, and we're here in the studio. Rob Levy and myself, RT, Random Task 555 on Twitter. Let us know how the sound's going. Let us know, visuals. I am hosting today. That is, the full back end. So if this works, that's excellent. The producer and I spent a couple hours working on this. And he's in the chat saying we're looking good, sounding good. So how you doing today, Rob?
Feeling good. Good to be on. Love this hour.
Yeah, this has quickly become my favorite time of the week. And, with a lot of people heading to Miami, I really need a win because the border, it got a little tricky. Just found out a buddy of mine's going. I was like, okay, probably could have figured it out. But here I am now the day before, and I'm like, So I won't be in Miami with you this week. You're going to have to, let me live vicariously through you, post some photos, post some videos, feed the FOMO in, and I'm going to treat myself to a round of golf this weekend just to get away.
Giddy up.
So I'm pretty pumped about that. In fact, I shot a 99 last weekend, I'll have you know, having only played 6 times in the last 2 years. So
all right.
I'll take it. Now, the market is looking uppy today. We're obviously going to dive into that if you guys are here today to think about, hear about, learn about the market. That's what we're going to be talking about pretty much for the entire next hour. I'm looking at the Ethereum chart right now on the weekly, which we're going to pull up here in just a sec. And it's amazing. And this is what I love about ranging markets. It's like range down, we're going to die. Range up to the moon. And you feel it. I don't know how you feel today, how much time you've had to spend to look at the market. But very quickly this morning, I felt just everyone's like, oh, is it the bull market again? Instantly, just 2 green candles.
It's more like, is the aggressive selling kind of over? Is it taking a breather, right? Everybody who felt the need and really, really got scared and needed to sell their spot. Leverage is another story in and of itself, but people who really felt the need to go in their wallet, send their coins to exchange, and sell spot for stables, for fiat, whatever it is that wave over right now? Did they purge enough of what they needed to purge so that the market's a little more equilibrium, and such that if some buyers step in with some aggression, like is there anyone there to really just put the palms out and offer it right into the bid? So I feel like today we're seeing that the sellers, they ran out of ammo for the time being, but doesn't mean that it's gonna last.
Well, it doesn't mean we're done yet. And here's the tricky thing, right? It's a lot of people didn't take their profit, and we're just going to pick on Ethereum here because it is probably the biggest story of 2021. That's a big statement. I guess we could get into that whole statement. There's Solana, there's so many things. But Ethereum, EIP 1559, ETH2, like L2 is rolling out. ETH is a big deal. And after this big smash down, the quickness of that turning to extreme fear, to me, spoke to like the lack of profit taking through here. And I was shocked, right? We talked about this on the show. I was amazed how quickly we went from like extreme greed to extreme fear, like a score of 10 last week. We can see here, let's take a quick peek. We're back up to 23. So, we hit 10 again last weekend, albeit on less velocity and price. And so when you get that big dump, and you see that extreme fear, and you're just thinking of how many people are selling here simply because they bought here and they never took any profit. They bought down at maybe not $500, but they were in profit still and decided now it's time to pay myself because I didn't before. And that puts you in a bind because now that was the bullish throwback on the weekly, and now you're kind of like, where do you buy back if you did get shaken out? Which, I think there's a lot of shame around people that get shaken out, right? You like to like talk that shit on Twitter, be like, haha, you little bitch, you got shaken out. But, when you pay yourself in an uncertain moment in the market, like I don't even have a huge problem with that. If we're going to be off to 10K, like, if you take a haircut somewhere during this chop, but then you get back in, did you get shaken? Like, you know what I mean? I don't think that's that big a deal. But the question I think a lot of people want to know now is, at what point is this done with this range and or what point can I buy back if you are in stables? I know a lot of people, they were very comfortable, and it's very easy to sit comfy in stables after a move like this. You just think, no more pain. I'm safe now.
I honestly, I think that the narrative for Ethereum got so strong and so positive during stuff today. Looking at some of the charts and some of the candles, right? Looking at the Ethereum USD chart on the daily, and on that run up, there was like this crescendo. It was building. All like the biggest kind of fund managers, everyone was just, all you could read about was Ethereum, everything Ethereum, and the thing marched. I mean, I counted it what looked like 15 to 18 days in a row that were up. Like, it was absurd. If you look at the daily candles from that run, from the pump chaser zone up, I mean, look how many of the dailies were green. There were how many? 2 or 3 green, or 2 or 3 green out of 50. It was ungodly, that stretch there.
Well, and I remember 2150 down here. We were on the set here like during this, and it was kind of like this cope, sort of like, oh, don't worry guys, it's just a little throwback. I mean, there was fear at this point, especially after the second visit, where there was talk of breaking down here. So it's it's pretty fantastic how 15 out of 18 candles went pure green.
I think that's what it always kind of catches people off guard more than ever, and I think when it comes to being a great crypto trader, and I certainly don't have it, because I get lulled to sleep thinking like, this is so strong. I'm so long-term bullish. I'm so long-term bullish. Look what's going on in this market. Look at the strength. You just always forget how deep the corrections go, how sharp, and how like people will all of a sudden go from feeling euphoric to literally like they lost everything and like this thing is complete garbage. And, then you have to pinch yourself and say, well, Ethereum's still 2,200. Ethereum's still 2,400. It's fucking garbage. But we were just here 6 weeks ago, right? Like literally last month we were here. So it's part just emotional, psychological, how good it feels and how like confirmed and validated you are in your long-term belief and conviction. And I own Ethereum, it's going higher. I own Bitcoin, it's going higher. And you watch it go, and then all of a sudden it gets cut in half. And you're like, holy shit, was there really, like, you're telling me that 50% of that, the value could just get chopped off in 3 days, in 2 days? That's crazy. And that's the one thing that makes it the hardest, and Bitcoin and all digital assets is that the corrections are so sharp, and they always seem to go way further than you think, even during strongest of like bull runs. You know, it's wild.
It did. Like, if you told me this time last year Ethereum would touch 4,200 before June, you know, I would have just been like, you kidding me? We were down at like $350. And I remember I had a buddy who was asking me, he's like, I got all this Ethereum. Okay, hold on. We're doing a quick audio run, guys. Let me just double check. So, okay, I know what I need. Sorry, guys. We are shifting into a new host situation. So I'm going to pull up the audio mixer. I'm going to make sure you're turned up a little here, Robbie.
All right. Do I need to fuck with something here? Or?
No, I think you're good. The input's got to be... Is it good? RT's good. Just Rob. Robbie is low. Rob's mic. Yeah. Just going to turn you up here. All right. Give me a half a sec. Panic at the Disco. It's better now.
Move closer.
Yeah, maybe move a little closer. I know how to change the shot volume, but that's the one we just muted. Control U. Oh my God. See, that's why we have a producer. Here we go. All right.
Unique New York.
Yeah, get your sound warm-ups going.
New York.
Okay. Rob Levy.
All right.
You just doubled your decibel output. How you doing? Sound check.
Nice.
Audio was okay before, according to some, still low. So it's like a weird way of saying it wasn't okay before.
All right, well, let's keep rolling.
Yeah, I want to keep rolling. We'll do it live. Take off system audio capture. Yeah, it's off. System audio capture is off.
You know, I see you were tweeting that fear and greed meter. You know, I saw a lot of that, and it went from being very, very, very greedy and really pumped up to kind of going to the opposite direction where it hadn't been that low in over a year, since like March of last year. Like, where do you think that thing sits now, and how good is it? I mean, how good is that meter?
It's incredible, actually. I've got a chart that I'm going to pull up that shows where price was every time it hit sub 15. And it's pretty good. We're getting all kinds of feedback about our volume. Guys, I did just crank out the live output. I don't know what's... Rob will get the like back. Turn Rob up. Yeah, I know. It's as easy as that, right? I did turn you up. I just don't know if it pushed live. Oh, okay. Say something.
Yo, what's up? Am I good?
Looks like you're really good now. Sound check. 1, 2.
Hey.
Oh yeah, I think you're there now.
They're saying it might be on my end.
No, I think I fixed it since then. There's a delay.
Okay, good.
Loud as fuck. Okay, I'm gonna bring you down now.
Smoking that loud.
No, now you gotta cool it.
Okay.
Okay, no, speak normally.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You're good.
Am I good?
Yep. All right, guys, we fixed it. We're good. And I'm going to show you guys that chart when I get my bearings back here. Was it the weekly views? I have one I put together that is of exactly that thing you were just talking about. God, I hope I didn't delete it the other day. I was making the newsletter yesterday, and I think I might have just like exited it. Did it. Let's see. But yeah, I deleted it to make this chart yesterday for the newsletter. But basically, if you chart all of the, I still have it. If you chart all of the fear and greed indexes below 15, they basically all happened. I can basically do it by memory, but like it happened here, it happened here, happened here. Obviously, it happened here, right? Like this, like when that fear and greed index hits like extreme levels, and obviously, and then it happened like twice in the last week. I mean, tell me if all those areas to start thinking about buying. Obviously, through the bear market, they were good for a few weeks. They didn't age well for that year. But generally speaking, and this is what I was kind of tweeting out to that effect over the last couple of weeks, is like, I wonder what buying in extreme fear markets only and only selling in extreme fear in extreme greed markets only. Like if you just lived on those two rules, you can only buy when it says extreme fear. You can only buy when it says extreme greed. Like how would your life age?
I think your life would age really well.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like if bullish reversal on Rob's volume, there you go. So like looking at this only goes back, and it's unfortunate. I wanted to go back to like 2016, 2013, but it looks like the fear and greed indexes I could find were only back to 2018. And every time it drops below 15, like if you just tell yourself, I can only buy when that happens, I think 99% of traders would do better.
Fuck yeah.
Or, at least people that weren't doing whatever great already.
Well, I mean that's part of the thing with trading is patience, right? And then if you only traded at, you only bought at extreme fear and sold at extreme greed, you would murder. You'd win. The problem is you might only have one trade a year.
Yeah. And in the midst of that, I mean, even if they're great trades, you're missing every
but that's
other thing.
Okay. I mean, that should be one of your, like, it reminds me of even running a bot, like one of your algos, you should just have capital in a sub account that just plays that. And you can make, the beauty of crypto and Bitcoin and ETH and all of these assets is the cycles are through like almost complete market cycles in 25% of the time as a normal market, probably less. I mean, you get complete boom bust cycles on a lot of assets very, very quickly. So, it makes waiting for that one trade setup per year or per quarter better. And I absolutely think you should allocate capital to that. I mean, there's some guys who literally made their year on buying this dip, I think.
And that's I think the nerves that are creeping into the market. I mean, even for myself, I trade wise, I've been pretty good on this range. Last weekend we were talking about buying dips in the Discord and, loading up cautiously at those bullish divergences on the Bitcoin hourly, the Ethereum hourly. But I did also skim, I was sitting with a certain amount in my FTX account, my Binance account, and I did move a bunch to Hxro. I just said, look, I'm going to lock that in. I'm going to get some interest on it. And if we're heading lower, I've locked it in. It's a guaranteed win. And if I can't turn what I have left into something, then, I shouldn't be trading anyway. So like, I kept a bunch of my trade account, put most of it into Bitcoin and ETH. A point being though, like you feel the nerves now this week where things start to really heat up, which, I mean, not heat up, but trend up a little bit within the hourly. And you start thinking like, damn, did I get left behind on some of this dip? Did I actually end up with less exposure after this dip rather than more? And even if at the end of the year, it's like, 10,000% return, like it could still be the case. But I did question that a bit. And like I've been saying for a while, let's go over to the chart. I mean, this is really what you want to be looking for here on let's go to ETH, let's say USDT. I mean, this is the only thing that matters. The debate, we talk about this all the time. The decision if we're going to be a bull market or a bear market is got to happen up here. In my opinion, for Ethereum, especially Ethereum, like they look very different too. You have to keep in mind, Bitcoin and Ethereum do not look the same. Bitcoin's still trading below its 20-week moving average. The internal strength here, obviously in the ETH BTC pair, is apparent. But bear markets, in my experience, you can usually get your exits here. And as hard as it is to see that over the last 2 weeks, while on the hourly and 4 hour, these squeezes up happen. And And what's really crazy is that a lot of the people who sold here are going to buy back here, thinking new highs. And that's often where I'm actually looking for the first short that I would have ever considered. And that's not to say like I want to short us into a bear. But my take is that, either it's back to full bull and it's like, holy shit, what a crazy dip, and we're back on. That's great. Or it's something more like this. And then that's your kind of quiet summer. And then we have like a sick Q4. That's my best guess right now. Consolidate, then more. Obviously, at the highs here, you're going to see a lot of people bragging about how they bought the dip and talking about new highs. And, well, we'll see. You can't really trade this area until it gets there, right?
Yep.
It's got to get there on bearish divergence. It's got to have some lack of volume. Like there'll be some signs there that tell me, I've got to set up. So that's sort of what I've been watching for. Me, I've been also buying up the bull tokens. Let's see how bull FTX is doing. I should check it on this one. Just like kind of a quick and easy way to get exposure with a little bit of leverage. Let's see.
It's funny you say that, because I do think that, on really sharp dips, the bull token probably isn't bad. You read a lot of bad shit about these leverage tokens. I mean, there was just an article I read about Binance, how some people were in like a bear token during the dump, and the thing actually did not go higher. That there was actually a structural problem, which I think was related to the create redeem mechanism. I think that some smart liquidity providers, market makers, whoever, potentially kind of outsmarted the amount of capital and liquidity of the Binance leverage tokens. It wouldn't surprise me if it was like some smart Alameda people, especially even after how kind of CZ did them wrong with the leverage token situation. But there was someone redeemed some tokens. The supply kind of had a crunch. They had to rebalance their the perpetual position in it, and all of a sudden the market dumps like it did 20%, 30%, and you're long a bear token and you fucking lost money. I mean, I would literally not, I wouldn't be happy, but we'll see. I think that buying the bull token after a very sharp drop, it could be the play. One of the things that I like about it right now is that funding, we've really lost a lot of this premium in the market. So like funding rates are pretty much negative. You can get paid to be long a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Bull tokens in general will have troubles performing when funding is really, really rich and you don't get like the sharp move higher. Because if you're owning these leveraged bull tokens, the underlying position is being long a perpetual future, and you're paying usually a high funding rate for that in a juicy market. But this market's lost a lot of that juice. It's been kind of really rinsed out of there. So funding rates are actually really great. You can get paid to be long a lot of stuff, and that's the best fucking time ever to be long bull tokens or perps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I have like a ton of data on this particular token where I'm thinking like, okay, this is definitely the best way to be long right now. It's almost like a lazy thing. And for better or worse, like I'm looking at Bitcoin, I've got X amount in my FTX account that I can, do a spot buy with. And then I'm like, look, I think Bitcoin's going to range higher here. Why don't lever up that decision? I don't really want to deal with perps and funding and levered positions, liquidations, all that, even though after all the liquidating we've seen, it's probably one of the safer times to do it. But it's funny how like right now I'm not going to do it, but then, later this summer, if we're rallying like 3x, it's like, time to lever up. But it's the psychology of it. But either way, like this, I see this chart pattern over the weekend, and I'm just thinking like either we die here and we just dump, and I had my stop loss alert right down here, or we're coming in, we've got this was crazy. I mean, look at this. This was the holiday weekend. Look at the RSI. I think everyone can see that. It's a little bit cut off. Let's move it up. The RSI, this was sort of my signal on the weekend to add to these, was that it stopped going down. I mean, it started trending up on like whatever it was, Saturday, when everyone was thinking like, okay, long weekend, I'm going to stay out of this. And I was trying not to trade too much, but I took a look at the chart, and as we dripped into this, there was no real sell volume. I mean, this is the bull token, obviously, but on Bitcoin, it was the same thing. And then this RSI just started like creeping up quietly as we got in here. And I just thought, damn, if that's not a low that I can buy, after this kind of, like you said, exhausted selling.
Yeah.
And then on the Sunday, we kind of confirmed my thesis right here with like a little mini market structure, and we broke out right here. And so then there's a second setup there where you can just add to it on the RLZ of that little breakout. And that was this. And there was just like 9 straight hours of down, but like quiet. It was like kind of weird, a little suspect, making a higher low on the RSI yet again. And it was right into this sweet spot. And I farmed a few extra. So I've just been picking them up. And then, yeah, like, does that pay off more than a 3x long? I don't really know, but it's up 30%. And it's like the market really hasn't moved anywhere. So it's been a good trade for me. I've been messing with them. It's like a nice, easy thing to focus on. But again, I don't know like the alpha. Like I don't recommend holding them. I don't think like, if I look back, it's very easy to maybe get sort of greedy and be like, damn, up at the highs, this token that I'm holding now was worth $115,000. If I've got 5 of them, if I've got 10 of them, like I could just hold these for and be a millionaire if we make new highs again. But I don't know if Bitcoin makes new highs, if this does too.
It really depends on how it happens, right? If it's choppy and it's one day up, one day down, 2 days up, 2 days down, I think that the mechanism here with this leverage token is you might get chopped up with these rebalances that act like short. The bull token is that if you're up if Bitcoin's up 8% in a day, it would need to buy more perps at the end of the day or at the start of the next day to rebalance. And so if it buys more perps and then you get another up day and it buys more, and then you get another up day and it buys more, that's when the price of this bull token can really run, because you keep buying more to rebalance. Now think about it the other way. If you get an 8% up day and you buy more at the beginning of the next day, you buy more perps, and then you go down 4%. Well, you just kind of added to your position and went down, and so you're down 4% the next day, and then they lighten up and they sell perps, right, to kind of get the ratio in line to 3x again. Then you go up 10%, and at the end of the next day, you buy perps to rebalance. And then the next day, if it goes down 4%, you're chopping yourself up. So I think that's like the non-ideal way to rally. But if you get a rally where it's kind of that grind and you get to keep adding your position, and you're grinding, like we saw with Ethereum with the 15 out of 18 days in a row or higher, that leverage token's going to fucking murder. And that's what you want. And it makes a big difference. I think it can make a big difference between the thing going to 20,000 and just going to 8,000 on a rally, like this bull token. And that's the thing to master here. And that's also, then you have to take into account the leverage or the funding rate. Because if you can manage to get like flat funding or not really super juiced 100% APY funding, then these things can really go.
Okay, so slow and steady is probably the sharper play for these, like versus like a rip face where they get left behind a bit, or
if it rips face and then after the rebalance, after they buy more perps that next day, it doesn't dump. So then you have to rebalance and sell. If it's steady rip face and it doesn't sell off too much, it's great. Like rip face, steady, that'll be all right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a new thing for me. I have never really traded them before because of all the BS I had heard about them in the past. But again, just this week, I thought, look, I'm gonna take some of that raw, like those spot Bitcoin I hold, and I'm gonna put those over a Hxro, kind of a more of a hold play, get some interest, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of that USD out of it and just put it in bull tokens to kind of maintain the same exposure. It's an experiment. We're going to see how it goes. The key to these, as any trade, is like just getting in a safe level. Like, safe in the sense that this was do or die from 6,500. And I'm risking 10%. And my upside is obviously this entire range. This is a local range, very local range. But, if Bitcoin breaks 40K, that's kind of like this equivalent level. And then we'll see where we get to retest.
I think
we should.
Yeah. No, sorry to interrupt you. No, I think it's funny you brought up the leverage tokens because, last episode I talked about it. It kind of piqued my interest, and the one that interested me was that Ripple bull. And I'm not a Ripple fan. Like, I'm not a fanboy at all. But I do think that when we're talking about meme rallies and we're talking about coins gaining more value than you could even imagine, like Doge and some of the other stuff, and kind of what we're seeing in the stock market with AMC and GameStop, that like if you get a positive catalyst for Ripple, we've seen what kind of Chad-like performances this thing can put up. So I'm like, you know what? Any day we're going to hear something from SEC, whether it's a settlement, whatever it is, like we're going to hear something soon. And on the odd chance that it is like less than what the market's pricing in, we could see something crazy go on in Ripple. So I was looking at that bull token. Listen, I think anything you would put into this thing, you have to act like it's worth zero. Like I would totally plan for this thing to go to zero, because in the end, like leverage tokens as a long-term hold, I don't think that strategy works. So I would plan on this going to zero. But for me, there's something crazy about, an event is coming up. If it's negative and it's ho-hum, Ripple's going to do what it does. But on that odd chance that it like is viewed as positive, or it actually is a positive result, I just like this thing. It's almost like a great option to have. It's like a little stick of dynamite that can explode. So I don't know. The leverage tokens, after a sharp dump like this, they make sense. It reminds me of like optionality, right? It reminds me of an option. It really does.
A little sharper price action. And you almost want to nail the timing similar to an option. Getting in here because you think someday Ripple will be worth more may not be optimal, but if we're looking at a clawback to sort of previous lost support resistance levels on Ripple, this is just a quick look at the token. It looks like we were looking at it last week, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
If we just get back up to tag the underside of that range, it's, on this token, it's 800%. On Ripple, I'm sure it's closer to like 60 or 40 or 70% or I don't know. I haven't looked, actually. Let's go take a look at Ripple. Because I think you're right. And as usual, spotting those kind of macro thoughts, something you do really well. And if Ripple comes out and, that SEC stuff, whatever it is, I don't know, is it the SEC that's after them? I mean, that's been really quiet, right? It was super bearish, and then it kind of went quiet, and the token started to rally back. Where was that? That was down here. This was the SEC starting to investigate Ripple. And then that news just kind of disappeared. And then we went into a bull market, and Wall Street Bets started calling out XRP and all this stuff and pumping them up. And like, this is all, in the absence of news regarding the SEC stuff. And so if you look at Ripple objectively, without, put away our disdain for a little bit. I think a lot of crypto OGs just love to hate it. And I'm kind of one of them. I never really traded it a lot, except for last year through here. We had a nice setup. But this is just a really sick, bullish throwback. And there's been no news yet, really, from the SEC. If they come out, I agree with you. If they come out and basically say, like, oh, yeah, we smashed them, or, we're suing them for wasting our time. Like, if they come out and champion this SEC thing, it's just primed. It's primed to take off. It's at resistance right now.
Yeah.
And,
let's go through live what we would do to look at this. How about that rally right there, right where you pulled it up at the beginning, right when it kind of broke out.
Yeah.
Right from the bottom pink. How far back was it? I can't see. But yeah, that one leg up, Not the next one. The next one from the
here.
throwback. No, here. Where is it? In the middle, right for the H for 4H. Yeah, that first leg after it broke through resistance there, which is your pink box.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
What did the bull token do then? Because that was a sharp rally. When it broke through the pink box. No, back. Yeah, right there. There you go. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm admittedly a little scattered with the audio. I got to get the XRP bull on here. Still looking up. I feel like there's somebody left us with like there's a bit of an echo, and I'm like, it's driving me nuts because I'm looking at it and I've got it set up the way that I thought I needed to. So, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at this on a daily. Wow, no, we're gonna need to zoom in 4 hour, and we'll go back here, and we'll do this. Okay, so tell me when to stop.
It was that rally that took it. No, I think we're a little delayed. In the second leg up of the first rally there. Second leg up, right there. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So April 9th.
Yeah.
So let's
see what happened to the bull token then? When it went from like $1 to $1.45.
April 9th. Yeah.
And you got to look at this thing on a log too, I think. Yeah,
okay. So April 9th here. That's the breakout. So let's just say from that breakout to the highs, you got 343%. On the spot pair, you got 82%. So it's pretty good. I mean, that's about your 3x that you were looking for.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
Let's see, though, from, like, just for fun, let's see what the high was down to that mega dip into April 23rd. You lost 55% of your value on spot, and you lost 95% of your value on the bull token. So it wins hard, it loses hard.
Yeah. If it goes into a sustained down move, that thing's worthless. It's just zero.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally something you just hop into if you think we're breaking out or something, like a breakout trader's dream. Or in this case, it's kind of like a quiet range. That's what I see. Here obviously we've got weekly support, which, I'm seeing a lot of compelling analysis that just says, like I read an interesting thread yesterday about Elliott waves, and I thought it was interesting. I shared it more because, I like TA, me, I like to learn new shit. And one of the guys, let's see, Bitcoin Daily. It was compelling, though. I will say that. And it was basically just saying that on the daily. Oh, God. Here we go. That on the daily, we were kind of in the midst of like, here's, your 1, 2, big wave 3, bear flag wave 4, and then finish the move with that. And when I see that, and I do find fib stuff and Elliott waves fascinating, although I'm not very learned in Elliott waves, and then I see that, and that's sort of your corrective move, and then you have probably whatever, and we're done. And I thought that's interesting because I think there is a lot of people right on the cliff here that are like, I'm gonna hold, I'm not gonna sell, but like, my God, if we break lower, that's their puke point. And we see it all the time. I mean, the some Elliott wave stuff that I have looked at, I don't like when people get into it on the 5 minutes and the 15 minutes, although I'm sure it works for them. But when you get the daily corrective move and you're just like, that would be the puke point though, wouldn't it? And then, and then that's like, it's going to satisfy some other support level, whatever. And then we're just off. So I won't count that out, but my analysis really points to, getting down or getting up into a couple of these levels first. And this stuff is going to look so much more bullish if we break above 40K. I mean, if we break above 40K, it's going to look like everyone who sold anything down here just got shaken out because it's just bullish structure, slightly lower low. So I don't know. But I've already kind of laid out how I've allocated capital. The other thing is, through my fund, I've got a lot of exposure. I've got a ton of exposure that I can't really touch. It's vested tokens. It's like upcoming things that haven't even launched yet. We've invested in. So I figure like if there's a rip-roaring bull later this year, like I'm set, I'll be fine. I have to cover the other side. I got to hedge a little bit in that sense. And since I don't really do a ton of options, I'm farming some stables for maybe 1/3 of my bag, and then took some leverage token exposure the other way. So should balance out. A couple people asking about Dan and Messiah. We should have probably mentioned that. Gunny is on a flight right now. As you guys know, everyone in the world that's cool is heading to Miami right now. So Gunny's on the way to Miami. He'll be down there later today. And Messiah as well. So they will be here next week with lots of sunshine, suntans, and stories to tell. And I'll be back on. I'm actually going to be back on tomorrow. So for Hero Labs Live, I'll be here tomorrow. We're going to go a day early. So I feel like, Friday, Miami, I think a lot of people are going to be off. So we're going to push it ahead. Where am I farming? I am on Hxro. It's not really farming. It's just like up to 10% APY on USDC, USDT, 8% on Bitcoin. Like it's like a crypto bank. They say they're insured. I've been following them since their pre-sale in 2018, 2019, wherever it was. And they've grown. I like them a lot. So I had a buddy on there who's been, kind of pushing off stables as he made them over the last year or two just to build a bag there. And he's getting a pretty sweet return on what he's got in there. I mean, it's not going to outpace a bull market, but it's fairly solid. I mean, it's fixed. Let's go take a look at the chart. They do have a coin. It's only on Huobi for major exchanges, which is not nothing. It's just, it's not Binance. It's not maybe not your mainstay, but that's down in the reload zone. So I think if you hold a certain amount in Hxro, you end up with a higher yield by a couple percent, which only makes sense if Hxro's in a bull, which it has been consistently since it like 10 cents last year or 6 cents, 10 cents. So, down in this reload zone, I thought, okay, it's time for me to get in. So I bought some Hxro, put my stables there for a little bit. And I'm kind of like committing to holding that there, Rob, to be honest. But if we get into that market, like we talked about before, I can pull up Ocean as my favorite example of this. If I start seeing setups like this, where it's a rip-roaring bull everywhere, and then a coin, on rising volume comes out of an accumulation, and then retests it, like I'll take those stables and just ape them into this. I mean, I called like 3 buddies this day that I saw this that are kind of more passive, and I said, dude, buy Ocean, sell next month. Like this thing was just going to go. So if I see those again, I'll probably get some of those stables back. But for now, it's kind of fun. I don't know. I reduced my account to a pretty, it's still a decent size over on FTX, and that's my new mission. I'm going to trade that. I'm going to grow it. I should make it a challenge. It'd be like one of those cringy Twitter flexes where you're like, 10K to 1 million, let's go. Yeah. But I always find those tough because then like you fall off or you forget to post something, and then it's like, is it valid? I don't know. It's a distraction.
Yeah. I mean,
but that's my plan right now. Kind of gamifying what I have in my trade account now, and saying like, look, if it's still 10x what I started 2020 with, like if I can't have a good year with that, then it's probably not a very good year to be long. So we're gonna do it. Yep. What are the coins you're looking at? The list we had last week. Atom, Solana, Sushi, Curve. Messi was talking about WNXM. Like, have you got anything new on your radar? What's in your ear these days?
No, the one thing about deep pullbacks is that it kind of gives you a chance to get into some stuff that you didn't quite catch, and they kind of moved higher too quickly for you on this bull run. And so I kind of been looking at some of that stuff. Like what are, at this point, it comes down to really like pumpability a little bit when you're trying to pick some bags out after a dip. And what really showed just like crazy strength in the bull run, like Helium Network, HNT, that's one I could never get myself to buy because I feel like every time I looked, it just had a 25% daily candle.
And it never really dropped.
This thing caught pump after pump, and honestly, you could have bought that thing under $10, and you could have bought it at $8 on this last dip, and look how it bounced back. It literally chatted to over $20, new all-time high,
and new volume highs too.
Crazy stuff. So I look, I'm trying to find those. What is going to get some ungodly type of money flow, right? I don't know who's buying that. I know that it's got some big funds that have been touting it and own it, but who the day after that crash with there was real palpable fear in the air, who went in there and took that thing from $10 to $22-24? That was a massive move on real volume. I don't know what are those coins that are going to get those sort of flows, right? I mean, some other names that came to my head of just remembering those days of looking at it in my TradingView watch list. What's just went bananas? Theta was one. So Theta kind of got some ungodly strength during the rally. So that was another one where you're almost waiting for it to see one of those inflow days. Obviously Matic, someone's saying in the chat, Matic, that thing did it did the thing throughout that little crash. But let's see, Theta was another one. One that I really don't know much about, except for I saw the guy speak. I think I was in Berlin at some conference. Luna.
I keep seeing that one come up.
Luna traded close to $20 a month ago, and that thing traded down to $6, $5 on the dump, and that was one where you're okay,
still there.
That rally looked real, right? I mean, maybe it lost some luster at the beginning. You see people really aped into it early, but it's a Korean network stock. I mean, you're thinking about Korea and stables and staking there. So that one, stood out to me and this, I'm not doing this quantitatively, right? I'm one of those guys who started in the trading pit, and it's more kind of my gut, my instinct, and then I look at stuff. But I'm trying to think about what made me feel almost I needed to FOMO into it when it was rallying. Did I just what is this thing? Look at this flow. Look at this volume. Look at this pump. And those names come to my mind, and I always, whenever I see stuff like that, I add it to an overall watch list that I have in TradingView, my alt USD watch list, all in USD terms. And I just, the list keeps growing, and then I kind of watch stuff. And so Luna was another one that got that ungodly buy-in, and I do think that Korean network effects and it could. I don't think things are going anywhere there. This crypto, everything is going to grow. So I don't know. It might be something. I really don't know anything fundamentally about Luna. I just know that it got insane price action and insane money flow in the last rally. So let's see. Trying to think of some other names. What quietly rallied like a mofo the last couple of days is Kyber Network. So Kyber is now.
I noticed that. I was thinking about you yesterday. That thing started to break out.
That really outperformed the rest of the market the past couple of days, and I don't know what it is. Someone got aggressive on it, and someone with big money. I mean, there was flow on Coinbase. Someone wanted to buy a significant amount of Kyber Network the last couple of days.
Yeah, let's pull that up. Just running never-ending sound checks with the audience here. Sorry guys, I was actually on with the producer for 2 hours today, but we hadn't plugged Rob in, and it's his audio that I'm apparently double feeding somehow. And in the midst of trying to chat and keep the stream live, I am at a loss for exactly what little clicker to click. So I'll run a full audio check with the producer and Rob before next show. So just bear with us today. It sounds like 116 of you guys are here. So apparently it is just good enough. We're just going to roll ahead. This is what I saw on Kyber yesterday. And, again, my take right now is that I can wait for better moments. I think levels wise, if we're in a bull this year, which I do think we are, it might just be as simple as like, okay, shut up RT and buy some RLZs and just go enjoy your summer. And we'll see in December who's ahead. But I am a little bit more of like a little bit of wait and see right now for the majors, because if I can, if I can avoid some downside and all that, and I don't see too many bullish setups coming in, but I saw this, and because of my more like macro hesitation at this moment, other than just being long Bitcoin and ETH, once this daily closed yesterday at like above that centerpiece, I was like, damn, like that looks ready to go. And I haven't missed it. I mean, if I wanted to like scalp long it today, I've missed that, but if this is your sort of daily structural reversal and in this big volume, so it looks like it is, by my setup, I can get in on this, and I've got to chase it up wherever this candle goes, maybe the next one, and then that dip following that's my in. And my guess is it'll be down here around 208, 202, or sorry, 208, 210. Really anything above $2 now on a dip. If I'm a Kyber bull, that's it. And like the last thing I'm going to do, and this is what a lot of people are going to lose money on in the next week or 2 or 3, is like, staying patient and being a bear or being unsure. And then on days like today, being like, I knew it. And then buying into this. And I don't know where this one's going to go, but like these are bearish throwbacks after a really nasty dump. So do I want to come in, like, unless I was aping in here, I mean, there's reload zones here. I have all kinds of reasons to get long here if I want to. Today's not the day to like change that plan for me. But damn, it does look good. I mean, just because the volume, right? We always talk about, like, you want that volume to stamp it.
Someone really wanted Kyber. Like they came for it. They wanted it there. Let's see how drastic the volume was on Coinbase. If you wouldn't mind, KNCUSD for Coinbase.
Is up there. I don't know, how that compares, but it was not like a one-off. Although the tricky thing is, like you said, that time I think it was
that's solid.
ZRX that you spotted it on, and like, the buyer was on FTX, but then like the ARB bots buy it up on all the other exchanges, so you end up with volume on all of them. Yeah. So I don't know how you really.
This was as good as almost any day, right? I mean,
yeah. That's significant volume. I mean, there was the signal to cool off on any bullish rally and we talk about this on stream a lot, is when the latest high, the most recent high came in on lower volume, right? So like right here, I'm like, yeah, we're good. We just made new highs in volume. With new highs, we're probably not done yet. We get up here, it's like, okay, a little bit of caution. The volume wasn't as high. Then you get up here, you're like, okay, now we're really playing with fire. And then you make that final high. As it turns out, it was the final high on yet again reducing volume. And since that high, there has been no significant buying until today.
Yeah.
And so when I look at this and I think uptrend for the year, and I say, maybe it's time to cool our jets up here because the volume's falling off. Well, now we're down in the reload zone. It's looking interesting. Holy shit, there's a breakout on volume. It's go time. And so did I miss it? Is it gone? No. Am I buying it today? No. But am I now thinking like this is a name that I'm going to be hunting dips on? Absolutely. And I'd be shocked, especially in this kind of consolidation-y, uncertain market, if I can't pick something up around here in the next week. The probability of that is so high over time that I always just wait for that. And if the odd time I miss it, I'm like, because, and traders will tell you this, like if they start, guys, people who picked it up here, if it does dip back down here, especially if it squeezes a little lower, like what are you doing, right? You're selling, you're stop lossing, you're exiting, and now you're at a loss, and that was the dip to buy. So I'm going to get excited about this dip. KNC, is a soft spot for me, having been in the ICO back in 2017 when those things were still called ICOs. So 3.2 ETH personal cap, which was like $2,500 at the time. It was a lot of money for me at the time, and I mean it still is, but like, yeah, I like this one.
So where would you put your if you bought that throwback and it was like a dump, where would you have a stop in there, or like where are you risking to? Just kind of
Yeah, let's run it. Let's set it up. I mean, it's a deep set of lows. So the perfect setup here, if I'm going to really like do an RR, full thing, stop loss, all that, the setup only just triggered last night. Actually, the Coinbase, it's interesting. The Coinbase daily closed a heck of a lot higher. So it looks like Coinbase led. Because look here. I mean, I don't know how important that is, but you can see here that the daily closed right at that midpoint here on Binance, for whatever that's worth. That's interesting. So what I'd be looking at here is I'd be measuring this move up, following it up wherever this ends. I think it's pretty much done right now. It already got kind of rejected right here. And so my guess is the highs are in for today on Kyber. And so now it's a question of, zoom in a little bit, get a little more detail, although we did just get higher volume on that high. So we'll see. But when I buy the exact throwback, I mean, we're not in a rip-roaring bull this minute, so I don't expect that I need to be really aggressive, like pump chaser zone. So I find my experience when I buy those, I actually end up getting squeezed. And then, so I find I can actually get some of these down here. And so that would be like, what would that be? Let's get rid of this bigger one. Yeah. I mean, that's my look right now. Down into this reload zone. And it looks shitty, right? Because like people are like, well, it's bullish now. If it goes down there, it's not going to look bullish at all. It's like, well, but it's crazy because that's like how many times that happens. This whole rally today just gets forgotten. Some other coin rallies in this kind of like weird choppy half-life that we're living right now. And then, a week later, 2 weeks later, after Kyber's all but forgotten, it wakes up out of here and we're off. And this was the signal day, not the day to necessarily chase it. That's the way I trade. That's the way I've been taught the hard way. So yeah, we get in even into this 170, 160. And like the reason that I love that too is because if you get it, suddenly you can risk to a really good invalidation. I mean, it should never go below those nuke dumps. I mean, that's 33% still, but you could probably even just draw that up into this 88.6 low. So you're risking 20%, but your upside is like infinity for the year.
Yep.
So that's my take on Kyber. It's like, it's not sexy. People, you see the stream say, it's on the leaderboard today. It's like, okay, well, I'll see you in 2 weeks. But the longer I trade, the more I learn to cool my jets, have that plan, set those levels. And the funny thing is, if I set, and I'm going to do that right now, actually, I'm going to set it at 217 just to the throwback. And watch, when that comes in, if it does, I'm pretty sure it will, wonder what's happening in the market that day. Something's puking, maybe Bitcoin's rolling back down, and I'm not going to want to buy Kyber that day. I want to buy it today because it just went up to 40%. Well, let's see if I want to buy it that day. So that's why you don't really do what you want. You just set your plan and you take your bids. Like when the market was full puke 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, I had like atom alarms going off. I had all these bids I never thought would get filled going off. This is an old setup that looks like thank God I didn't trade. But like, yeah, I had all kinds of alerts firing. And it was actually a day where I was going around canceling bids. I was like, oh, the market's nuking, chill. So, somebody needs the link. Trading View, what up? So we are getting to the top of the hour, guys. If you guys have a few questions or if you have some specific charts, I know Ro Jogan is here. He asked an interesting question a little earlier. I saw it, but you were talking. He said that bounce. Oh, he's a Rook holder. How's Rook doing right now? Whales that capitulated last month are aping into AMC. Discuss. What are your thoughts on that, Rob? Are you following the AMC stuff? My buddies are trading it. They're bragging about taking profits. I don't know what's going on.
I'm not. I mean, AMC, I think they're doing some interesting things.
Holy
talking
shit.
about if if you own the stock, you get free popcorn. I mean, they're pulling pages out of like real network effects, real kind of community building, crypto networks.
Damn.
I think they're being smart about this. We are coming out of the pandemic where no one in their right mind was going to movie theaters. Like that was just a no-go. And that really hurts these people because AMC, they make money off selling $8, $10 buckets of popcorn that cost them 25 cents.
Yeah.
You know, well, corn has actually gone up 2.5 times, so now it costs them 50 cents. But I mean, that's where they make their money. They sell corn and water, right? They sell soda that they literally charge $7, $8, $10 for a soda that costs them nothing. I mean, they need people in the theaters. So we're opening up people now. If you're vaxxed, no mask, people are actually going to go into the theater. I think a lot of people are short that name.
So you think it's maybe like a reopening narrative?
Yeah, it's trading like a crypto. And this thing will have its day, though. This thing will come back down to earth. But I know nothing about it. I don't know what $60 a share equates to them in market cap. But, I mean, let's be honest. Dogecoin has a 40 billion cap. So, like, I mean, where is someone going to come in? Where are the Melvin Capitals, the Citadels? Where are the people who take big short positions? They have to put a lot of capital on the line. Where are they going to step in and get short this thing? I don't know if this is a market that treats those people kindly yet. But when things get super stretched, they correct and they mean revert. So,
yeah, we saw it with GameStop. I mean, that was a really remarkable story last year. I mean, we talked about it on here, just the huge squeeze all the way back down to probably, it looks like an 88.6, just below actually. And then, and it's still going, it's kind of echo rallying. So I think people are having a little fun in the market. I think there's probably like a few Warren Buffett types rolling over, I would say in their graves, but maybe almost. And like this is a sick rally. I got to say, a couple of my buddies, I don't know what their impetus was to suddenly be like, I'm going to go buy AMC. But they're traders and they probably spotted this, nice breakout on volume, little dip back into a pump chaser zone, and holy shit. Good week to be trading stocks. This thing has gone like off that pump chaser zone EMA tag. This thing is up 400% this week. Pretty outstanding. So crazy. I think that's what Ro Jogan was asking about. Yeah. Couple guys in the chat are in AMC. I mean, I guess if you trade crypto, then these moves are what you look for. I picked up one stock today, which is rare for me. I barely even open my stock account. It's like makes me a slightly better trader for them. But I did pick up some of this. It's a Canadian one. It's a mushroom stock. I don't know anything about their valuations. So if you're an FA guy and you're like, they don't earn enough, like, okay, I'm probably wrong. But on a pure technical level, macro level, I want to be long mushroom stocks. I think they could have a weed boom as psilocybin, gets legalized in the next few years. So I was looking at some mushroom ideas. And this one I missed earlier this year. Well, I traded a little bit, but I missed most of the move. And then, yeah, look at it. It's just sliding back into the reload zone. Still got some buyers popping in once in a while. Looks like accumulation. And we're just sitting on the sweet spot. So I saw it today and I was like, okay, I wanted this price a few months ago when it was up here. Now I've got it. I got to pick some up. So I have some Numi. I don't expect much from it anytime soon. I feel like stocks just move slow. But you guys already know. I'm looking up here at this fib extension for my next move, which is not too shabby. So we'll see. We'll see if me trading stocks is a good idea.
It's a widget. The chart's the chart. There's different players. Different capital pools.
Yeah.
So,
well, you know what it is? So part of what I took out of the market last year, the crypto market, in Canada, we have this thing called a TFSA. It's a tax-free savings account. And you can basically set up a trade account where your profits are tax-free. And obviously there's like limits on that. Like if you roll an account into 10 mil and then you flip it into 50 mil one year, like they're like, okay, you're a professional trader. You have to pay some tax. But if you're just casually kind of moving into like 3 and 6 month positions and you're not like insanely wealthy off of this one account, it's basically tax-free. You just have to report it and there's no tax. So I thought, fuck it. I'm going to fill that. There's only a certain amount you can put in each year. And I'm trading it. We'll see. See if I can get some tax-free cash.
Yep.
But yeah, if you guys have any cool stock ideas, drop them in the chat for next time. I will read through the chat a little later. It's not really on topic today, but AMC, I thought, okay, fuck it. I'll talk about Numi. What do you got?
No, I mean, you mentioned the FTX bull token. I think we all know FTX and BNB are kind of two of the strongest exchanges, and they have exchange tokens. So I think that those could be a place to look if the trade still is good. We've got money coming in. We know people are raising funds. Like I mean, there's nothing like exchange volume during a mania, and even on dumps, volume gets high. But then you don't want to wash out too many people. But BNB definitely outperformed ETH on the side-by-side chart, and it's been, it's bounced back, and it actually, quite frankly, looks like that W could definitely.
Yeah, BNB looks great here. And again, it's like that easy during a ranging market. It looks terrible here. Looks amazing here. I mean, it's a very emotional, quick switch when you're ranging. But if this closes the daily here in about 3 hours, then it looks like we're going to head higher into this key level. So, there's just like an AP trade there where you're like, fuck it, I'll just buy some spot and sell it here. There's no risk management. It's a little weak. I don't love that, but I'd be shocked if we get this daily close, if we don't end up at least trading up to these lows here, which is, that's like $100 move, $80 move. And then if, again, and here's the sad part, or here's the tough part, is that if you want to just like figure out, are we going to be a bear this year? Are we going to be a bull? That debate doesn't happen down here. It happens in these short reload zones. So you don't really get our answer until we fail out of there, or we like grind higher. We can do so many different things, but basically I don't think about shorting this market or becoming a big bear until these kinds of zones, which is crazy to do, because by the time, if we get up here, which I think we will, nobody's going to want to short. Everyone's going to be buying back stuff they sold cheap. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be savage. I mean, it's going to be savage. I think a lot of people in the market that maybe just arrived this year are going to learn very quickly that the bull markets are no easier than any other. I mean, okay, they're certainly sometimes easier. But through the year, you will, it's the guys who really outperform. It's skill. You can fall into 100x, but grinding out the entire year and living through these dips, it's not something you do naturally. I mean, you certainly can't just do it by going with your gut. Yeah. Your gut tells you, oh, we're bearish. Your gut tells you up here we're bullish. Your gut tells you back down here we're bearish. And then by the time this, like, if we get this triangle consolidation that I think we're going to get is done, you've lost your lunch. You're down 50% and you're buying back at the highs. So it's like, thanks for coming out. There goes all your profit for the year, and maybe you can make some of it back if we get another bull. So trade your plan, guys. I think you guys have heard me ramble on about this a lot after these big smackdowns. Even if we get up to here, I'd be shocked if we go straight higher, but doesn't really matter what I think. Got to find setups that work and trade them. And right now I'm long on Bitcoin, long on Ethereum, and that's about it for like longs that I took this week, or last weekend, but we'll see how they age. This is the maybe we'll just wrap up here. This is the chart I put out in the Discord on the weekend, and I was thinking, like, this is kind of what I was looking for. Love my little squigglies because they just help me think. This week I can look back and be like, what the hell was I thinking? And we were here, and I just thought, I feel like we're just gonna have a drippy weekend because it's a long weekend. It's shit. And, I'm going to look for bullish divergence. We got that. And it was like, fuck it. I got to take that long. And we're just going to trend up and squeeze this week. The big decision is 40K. I mean, that's, it's hard to say I'm going to long here now. I'm already long, but like this is just no man's land for me. Because if we get to 40K and reject it, it's pretty shit. We're just going to range down. But if we flip 40K, I think it's going to be a pretty short ride up to 47, 48, 50. 53, and I think a lot of people are going to be out of position on that. Aaron Braun asks if I'm still farming Ray. I am not. Oh, no, I'm not farming it. I'm staking it. Yeah, still got my old Ray bag. For those who are wondering. So yeah, I guess I am long on Ray. I don't know. It's off the books. I'm not thinking about it. It's probably in a reload zone. So if anything, I should be adding to my staking, if ever, down here. But yeah. Let's rotate back into the studio here. I do have this second shot. Hey, it works. Yeah, why trade if you can get 200+% APY? That's a really good point, Topher. And I think for most people, aside from the systemic risk that those APYs often offer, like rug pulls and exploits, and they sometimes come with that. Not saying yours does. But that's a really good question. And I think that's why DeFi is so attractive, because it can make us all great traders. That's literally why I'm sitting with a huge amount. Well, 1/3 of my portfolio now sitting in stables, taking in like 10%. I'm treating it like a savings account, and I'm treating my trade account like a new, it's a new mission for me. I'm going to grow it from where it is and skim monthly into that savings account. And then, I'm not going to touch that savings account unless I get one of those ocean setups like I showed you earlier. Then I'm just going to ape it back in later this year, but we'll see about that. Where the hell are you getting 200% APYs? We will wait. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I find, I'll tell you what, guys, the thing about variable rate interest is that it's gonna ebb and flow. And you can even just see it on FTX. They're lending, I sit there sometimes overnight, my USD, I'll just lend it out. And I was getting 30% on the days before the huge dump. Nobody was lending. Everyone wanted to borrow. So the rate was really high. 2 days after that dump, the rate was 1%. I was getting next to nothing. Everybody's like, fuck it, stables and lend, I'm done. And so I'd be curious to see what happens with those 200%. And then often they're paid out in a token that could go down. So who knows? I don't know. It's super bullish while it's bullish. And then once that sort of top comes in, and that might be what happened with things like Luna, where there was incentives to stake and hold and stake and hold. And then when the bottom came out of that, it was just pull liquidity dump or whatever. I don't know. And that's why I think you see some of those insanely sharp banana curves up and down, but we'll see. When are you going to Miami, Rob? Damn. All right. Well, I looked up the hotel you're staying in. It looks badass. So enjoy South Beach. Enjoy, the sun. And yeah, refreshing. Yeah, no. Yeah. If you want to throw us an OG for the channel's sake, we did just hit 5,000 subs. So for old time's sake, we thought we'd have an audio issue. You guys should have looked up the stream back in July 2020. My God, the audio. We've come a long way. Big milestone this week with 5. Oh no. Uh-oh. I think you were muted, Rob.
Uh-oh. Hello.
You're back now. Rob was basically just saying he's going to have a good time in Miami. He was actually apologizing for the audio issues while being muted and having an audio issue. So that's ironic.
That is.
But we've come a long way, guys. It's 5,000 subs. We just hit it. Couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate it deeply. And as we pivot to this new setup with me hosting and our producer kind of is going to hold my hand for a few weeks here, we obviously have to run an audio check with Rob.
It's all right.
No, we're good. Just the way you were leaning into the cam there with a smile. You're just looking so charming today. I don't know.
We're going to be all right. We're going to be straight for next week. We'll be back to full strength. Hopefully
might be a couple of hangovers in the booth.
Yeah, we'll be all right. But we do apologize. Thanks for sticking with us. And, we'll get this straightened out. We'll be banging.
Yeah, we're going to be back full strength next week, guys. Check me out tomorrow at 3 p.m. for Hero Labs Live. And until next time, whatever you do, don't get wrecked. Always play from a position of strength. Take care.
Thanks, guys.